Hello, what nuts, Humpty Dump Nuts, and Winter Classic Ump Nuts. It is December 30th in Chicago, the United States, and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code WhatChaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game in Chicago, Illinois. I am David Beam. To my left sits Pete Blackburn, and all the way across the room is Sean DePaz. Hi, Pete.
Hello, David. I like this setup. I like having like Sean. I can only see like the top half of his head, like Wilson from Home Improvement, but I like this setup. It feels more intimate.
Sean, what do you know about Home Improvement?
I know a little bit about Home Improvement. I used to watch it on Nick and Night all the time. I like this setup, generally speaking. Thank you, CHGO, for hosting us. I am not used to it, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. I don't know what to do with the mic. It is too far from me, and my head is cut off if I get close enough to the camera. I'm a little thrown off. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like this, like your camera feed looks like a doorbell cam, where it's like you're looking through the peephole, and you get like that weird distorted version of somebody, like half of somebody's face, and they're like, "Hello, let me in."
Yeah, I don't know, like, because if I want to lean this close to the mic, then I'm doing what you see now, where I'm like leaning off camera. But if I want to be in camera, I'm all the way away from the mic.
Well, this is a very professional show we got.
Yeah, we are at CHGO. Very nice of them to have us. From a logistical standpoint, yeah, we're going to be a little blind because we don't have our computers, so we're just kind of going off our phones and our mentals here. If you hear any noise in the background, you probably won't because this is such a well-put-together studio. We have Jay and Mario from CHGO doing their Blackhawks post-game show, and they're just screaming.
It's the best.
They're having
so
the worst fucking time doing a Chicago Blackhawks post-game show, not because they're not passionate about the Chicago Blackhawks, but
no, that's why. Like they are passionate. Yeah,
they just to deal with this for every day because they do their show 5 days a week. Yeah, and they've been doing it for like 3 years now.
Yeah,
they've been doing this show for. Yeah. They've been doing this like
exact same yelling after a random weekday. I guess it's Sunday, but random game against the Dallas Stars that they were always going to lose, like Pete said.
So we just came straight from the Blackhawks Stars game, in which the Blackhawks got their fucking asses kicked for. I want to say 40 minutes, but it was like 50 minutes. They got their asses kicked, and we walk into the studio, and Jay's screaming about, they can't win the draft lottery every year.
He was like, the What Chaos guys just walked in. Do you guys want to do the show? And I was like, absolutely we do. It would be amazing to just jump in there and do a post-game show. I'll say the post-game show of that is, yes, they stunk for 50 minutes, did the Blackhawks. The Dallas Stars are supposed to beat them. Yes. I'm just like, when they skated out, we had really nice seats right behind Jake Ottinger. And when the Blackhawks took the ice, I'm a guy. Mm-hmm. I like guys on teams. Mm-hmm. That is just a stream of guys hitting the ice. And they don't even have all of their guys, but you're seeing like Robertson, Hintz, Heiskanen, Ottinger. You're just like, they have Ben still, he scored tonight. They have
Wyatt Johnson, Logan Stankoven. They have a lot of guys, and that's a really good team.
Bertuzzi's running power play 1 with the Blackhawks.
Tyler Bertuzzi, shout out him. He scored a goal that they just did not credit to him because they're like, this might be the Blackhawks' only goal of the game. It was. We're going to give it to Connor Bedard. Goal scored by Connor Bedard, and everyone's like, oh yeah.
and then they said goal scored by Connor Bedard, assisted by Tyler Bertuzzi, which don't know how that even works if you watch the goal. And then I went back and looked at it later. Took the assist away from Tyler Bertuzzi. So he's just like, go fuck yourself.
And then they kicked Tyler Bertuzzi out of the game.
I was going to say, like, the big justice for Tyler Bertuzzi night because he gets his goal stolen from him by the scorekeeper. And then on a pretty bullshit, what I considered bullshit elbowing call, gets thrown out of the game. And really, that's kind of where it went downhill for the Blackhawks. As soon as they hit a 5-minute major. They only gave up 1 goal on the major, but it was like 3 seconds into it, and we were like, all right, game's over.
Not hit chat, for the record. He did elbow him, but I was shocked that it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was an elbow. Leave him in the game.
They took a look, and they came back, and it was like you took a look and did what?
Yeah.
Tyler Bertuzzi hat trick, though, is scores a goal. They don't give it to him or give him a single point. Throws a hit, gets kicked out of the game. That is the Tyler Bertuzzi stonks, or the Tyler Bertuzzi experience has gotten so unfortunate for Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm pulling for him because I love a guy who scores goals right in front of the net.
Yeah, I got to say, I've been to plenty of Blackhawks games over the past couple of years. The atmosphere tonight was really, really awesome. Surprisingly awesome, at least before the game started. And then the game started, and you're like, well, the team still stinks.
Makes sense, though. Packed. Everybody's still home for the holidays. It's the last game before the Winter Classic, so if you're saving up for the Winter Classic and you can't swing it, Stars are in town the Sunday night. Okay, sold out, anthem, electric as always. Had a great time, ran to our friend Emily Kaplan. Awesome experience. First 10 minutes of the game, and then everything changed, and it wasn't that great. But whatever, the Stars are supposed to beat them. Why don't you tell the folks what's on the show today, Peter?
I would love to. We are in Chicago, so there's Welcome to Chicago. Whoa. Pretty self-explanatory there. We're in the Big Apple. We're here for the Winter Classic. It's going to be a great time. The return of Ovi. Ovechkin back, I believe, 40 days after breaking his leg. He's already scored a couple goals. We'll talk about that. Alex Vlasic joins the show. Speaking of Blackhawks, speaking of Chicago, we have defenseman Alex Vlasic on the show. We sat down with him a couple weeks ago. Nice little chat. Second time that we've had a sit down with Alex Vlasic. He's great. And then the Stars are nerds. I know exactly what that's about. They were big winners of that game in Chicago tonight, but big losers of the weekend just based off of just the dweebs and their activities during winter break.
Yeah, I have a thought on who I blame there. I mean, a guy that I really respect just came out as like king nerd and started the whole thing. Well, we'll just start there for 3 seconds.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, this is going to be great then.
Okay, let me get you the story. Per our friend Emily Kaplan of ESPN, the NHL will fine the Dallas Stars for violating CBA rules by holding an optional practice during the league's holiday break, a league source told ESPN on Sunday. The rules that the NHL and NHLB stipulate you got to be dark between December 24th and 26th. You know about the trade freeze, all this stuff. You can't do stuff. However, Stars coach Peter DeBoer, and that's who's in my crosshairs right now, even though I love the guy, revealed Friday, ahead of a game against the Minnesota Wild, that several Stars players were at the rink Thursday. Quote, I was at the rink yesterday, DeBoer told reporters Friday. We had an optional, and of course, the young guys all show up for the optional like, they're supposed to do. The NHL launched an investigation after DeBoer's comments. According to sources, the Stars fully cooperated with the investigation.
Yeah, of course they cooperated with the investigation. They launched it on themselves.
That's unbelievable. That's unacceptable. I don't know what upsets me more. The fact that you clearly pressured these young kids into giving up their Christmas vacation, or the fact that you did it and then snitched on yourself. Because that can't happen. Incredible. If you're going to break the rules, you can't just immediately, you got to make them work for the truth a little bit.
When you're talking to someone you don't really care about and they're like, so what are you doing for the holidays? Oh, everyone's staying pretty close. You can just be vague. You don't have to say like, oh, I'm going to like my aunt's and we're doing this or whatever, because you don't care about these people. You just say like, oh, just hung around, saw family. Peter, how was your Christmas? Great. I was at the rink yesterday, with all of the players. I called it an optional, but they knew what that meant.
Yeah, even in the young guys were there like they're supposed to be.
It's unbelievable just because, like, Pete DeBoer's been around. This is not some rookie coach who doesn't know the rules, is like kind of overwhelmed by the...
can make this mistake.
Yeah.
Warsofsky can make this mistake.
Pete DeBoer is brought in for questioning. They put the lamp in front of him, and even before they turn it on for the interrogation, he just gives up everybody.
I don't know if this is something that many people will have seen, but I saw a video of a cop went to this guy's house because apparently he was shooting at a drone above his house, and the cop went up to him and he's like, so we got some reports about somebody shooting guns at a drone. Do you know anything about? He's like, oh yeah, that was me. That was me. And he's like, what? The cop just didn't know what to do because he was being so truthful for. Maybe that's what he was hoping for. He was just like confuse him so much by being so honest that I get away with it.
He's like, if we get busted for this, they're throwing the book at us. They've been wanting to take us down for a while on this. I'm just gonna come right out. First question, Peter, how's the power play looking? Better now that they practiced yesterday. Hand up.
Also,
we did that.
You could have just been like, I heard the guys got together over the break. I had nothing.
Yeah, make it some Tom Brady shit,
where
it's like, oh, like he goes outside all the time and just throws the football, and he has so many friends on the team, and they're also ways outside in the same park, and they catch the football when everyone's supposed to be inside for COVID.
Yeah, it's if you're gonna do that, at least make it sound like the players went above and beyond, not like they just like did their job. Like, oh man,
they didn't even do their
job. You
job.
Can't keep these guys off the ice. I know the rules. They were willing to break the rules because they're just that committed to the game. No, he's like, yeah, they showed up like they were supposed to.
That's hilarious.
So, by the way, Emily did note that there have been similar fines for teams that have had players travel on December 26th because teams never fly in the day of the game. You don't do it. You get there the night before, ideally the day before, adjust, sleep, get comfortable, play the next day. But the December 27 games, a lot of the time you just got to go and fly there, and it's just like a major disadvantage, but whatever. It's a one-time-a-year thing. The Maple Leafs did it a few years ago. They got fined. Somebody else did too.
The Sabres 2 days ago.
You did say that Ryan Warsofsky should be allowed to do this. If Ryan Warsofsky cost all those children their Christmas, he would be
the Grinch.
He would be the Grinch, or that would be, I don't know, that would maybe be tough love. And now I'm wondering, it's just weird behavior and nerdy behavior on the part of the Dallas Stars, but whatever. They're grown men. They can do what they want. Another thing that we've kind of missed these last few days, the Alexander Ovechkin return. You said it was something like 40 days. I don't know if it was 40 days. I know that it was 16 games. Mm-hmm. If it was 40 days, folks, it's why they call him McJesus. He is incredible because he comes back, scores in his first 2 games back, scores an empty netter, gets asked by Ken Campbell after the game, hey, was that the easiest goal of your career? And he basically said, fuck you, nerd. And he was like, if everyone thinks that 6-on-5 goals are so easy, they should try playing in the NHL 6-on-5. I'll give you my skates. You rock Alexander Ovechkin, and then he scored another goal the next game. He is now 25 away from Gretzky with 46 games to go in the regular season. If this man ties or breaks the record in a season in which he broke his blessed leg, legendary.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have thought that it could have got crazier that he would break it this season. But
his leg or
the record.
Okay.
Like, I think if we started this season and you were like, hey, Alexander Ovechkin's going to break it this year, I'd be like, holy shit. But to break it this year after breaking his leg is outrageous, especially considering he's like never been injured before. So we've never really had the opportunity to find out that like if he does break, he just regenerates and comes back and doesn't miss a beat.
And meanwhile, the Washington Capitals just only getting stronger when they add him. By points percentage, they're still the best team in the Metropolitan Division. They are off to the races. The worst team we have missed. When we were flying in from Boston this morning, it was like 2 a.m. It was very early. And I was like going from person to person being like, did you know the Rangers are in last place though? It's hit me like I know that a lot of games haven't been played the last week, but it is just hitting me like a ton of bricks because we started talking about the sky falling in New York when the Rangers declared, hey, we might trade people when they were like fourth in the Eastern Conference, and they were just being dramatic babies because that's what the Rangers do. Endearing, quote unquote, endearing, kind of derogatory.
They kind of like manifested their own demise.
Completely. And now they are in last place. They have a 2% chance of making the playoffs. Sean, we were like,
It's the best.
they're actually not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it is very. I think the fact that they beat the Buffalo Sabres that one game allowed people to forget that they are also bad. And then the Sabres drought ended, and people looked around. They're like, oh, the Rangers are that bad. Yeah, it's going to be very odd to see them not make the playoffs. Not that upset about it, but
They have a 7.8% chance to make the first selection in the NHL draft.
So
they have a better chance of the first overall pick per our nerds, which is Money Puck. If I see one of those graphics, I'm jumping on it. I'm reading all the stats off
That
it.
would be so annoying, though. If they picked first, that would be so annoying.
huge opportunity for whoever's picking second. I'll say that. Because then you can go Jack Hughes, Capo Caco all over again.
I feel like if you win the President's Trophy and then you finish in a position to even be picking first, you should be disqualified from picking first.
I think MSG should turn into like the number one car in F1 where like the better team in New York gets to play there. So New York, like the Rangers should just have to go
that's a great rule.
Fuck off the UBS. Islanders get to come in or maybe the Sabres at this point, because the Sabres, like the best team in the state of New York, or you can make it the Tri-State, because it would honestly be really, really nice if the New York Devil or the New Jersey Devils came in and were like, fuck both of you guys. We run MSG now. But
I mean,
just make
to be honest,
they kind of
Devils kind of already own MSG.
I know.
You kind of glazed over this, but like the experience of we had a peek behind the curtain. We had a really weird and kind of terrible flight experience this morning. Our flight was delayed, first of all. Then weather wasn't great, very choppy. They left our bags behind in Boston. Oh, by the way, before even getting to the airport, the first thing that we saw was a plane crash that killed like 200 people in Korea. So that's not what you want to see right as you're about to board a plane. And then after all this happens, we land in Chicago, and like the first thing DJ says as we hit the tarmac, we're getting ready to go have a week is, hey, did you know the Rangers are in last place? I was like, what the fuck?
I didn't know. I didn't say that in Chicago. I said that at Logan.
Did you? I thought.
Yeah, I was saying that
landing.
That was my thought when we were getting ready to go to Chicago. Was like before. Hey, I know we got stuff to do with the Blackhawks and the Blues and stuff, and the Winter Classic's going to be a lot of fun. But let's not leave behind the fact that apparently the New York Rangers are in last place.
Well, honestly, that makes it even funnier because I know for a fact you told me after we landed.
Oh, really?
So you had been thinking about it for the entire 3 hours of the
marinating.
No. We were sitting in when our gate changed, and you and I were sitting next to each other on.
Okay, yeah, that might be right.
Pete was in a row back.
That's not as fun, but
I was like, Sean, while I got you. You know the Rangers are in. I'm looking at this Money Puck graphic, and it would appear they have a 2% chance of making the playoffs. Absolute madness. If it were any worse, it would be Team Canada in the World Juniors, because that's off and running. And Team Canada lost to our beloved Kristaps Porzingis' own
Latvia.
Zemgus Girgenson's own.
Oh yeah, Zemgus Girgenson's bowl.
The Latvian locomotive.
Yes, but Canada lost to Latvia, which shout out Latvia. That's why these games are played. Awesome win, fantastic. And then the final score was posted on Instagram, and all the close cuts from Team Canada. Hammering that like button.
Yeah, there's nothing better. Well, yeah, there's nothing better than Canada losing in a historic upset. Although, if there is something better, it's the players that they left off the team being like, good, fuck you guys.
Does this further raise Michael Misa's stonks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is what we want him to be,
This
right?
guy's a winner.
I need him to be a Buffalo Sabre so bad.
We're so in on Michael Misa. And if he's got nothing to do with, say Canada chunks it big, goes nowhere in this tournament, do you want the guys that were doing the shove, like putting in all the work to be terrible, or do you want someone who is nowhere near it?
Nowhere near it.
No, and we want the guy that was in a different building practicing his wristers with teddy bears.
Yeah, and like people were coming at me yesterday on Sunday about USA lost to Finland on Sunday, and they were like, "Oh, this aged poorly." And me shit talking Canada. I was like, "They lost to Finland. Finland is a great hockey country. No disrespect to Latvia, but." There's a reason why it was considered one of the biggest upsets in the history of the tournament.
There's a reason why when you think Latvian NHLers, you think of Zemgus Girgensson.
Now when I think of Latvian NHL players, I'm thinking of the goaltender from the World Junior team because I hope that he earned himself a NHL roster spot because that guy rocks. And Feldberg, I think his name is.
Respectfully to the people who are going at Pete after USA lost to Finland, Pete doesn't watch USA in the World Juniors. Pete watches the World Juniors to see if Canada doesn't win. Though that stupid cliche of I root for the Red Sox and whoever beats the Yankees or whatever. Pete doesn't. Pete just roots for whoever's playing Canada. He's monitoring Canada to see if they don't win. If they don't win, he says, "Good day of work. Now I go to bed."
Yeah, my interest in the World Juniors is almost exclusively about the demise of Canada and them losing a stronghold on hockey in our world.
They are very Yankees-esque. They really haven't been as good as they like to think they are over the last couple of decades. And then once they get to the world's biggest stage, all I want to see is them to crash and burn in the most significant fashion.
That's right.
I'll tell you that nothing beats the sound of fresh steel cutting through the ice. And that's why today's podcast is brought to you by Bauer Hockey. You can hear that steel cutting through the ice every time after getting a fresh buzz with the Pro Shop Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener, perfect for all hockey players, families, or teams. This sharpener is fully automated and extremely easy to use. Pete, how easy is it to use?
Extremely.
Outrageously.
And it even has Tendy mode.
You may be getting your wires crossed. That sounds too... They can't have that technology. That
technology exists. And it works flawlessly, so even your goaltender can stay sharp.
So perfect edges?
Every time. Anywhere. As long as
you're plugged in. You got to be
plugged in. As
long
as you have power.
Grid goes down, I'll tell you what.
Your skates
for this one reason,
hell.
You are doomed if the grid goes down. But if you're a goaltender and the grid is up, fantastic news. Your tendy can stay sharp. To learn more about the Pro Shop Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener or to see where you can find it in stores, head to bauer.com/ProSharp.
Yeah, and if the grid goes down, you are probably going to need some sunglasses because you're going to be outside, you're going to be hunting for your food, you're going to be trying to survive, you're trying to be scavenging, maybe just relocating to a place where the grid currently exists.
Or maybe you just want to accept your fate and look cool while you do it.
Maybe you want to build a new
That
grid.
is a good point. You don't have to be out for survival. You can just be trying to maximize the days that you have left until somebody comes and gets you.
I'll tell you
in which case, you need Shady Rays.
I'll tell you who's not going to like you if you are outside and not out there for survival. Every person who is out there for survival, if they are trying to stay alive and get the things they need and do the things they need to provide for their own, and Sean's out there sunbathing.
Like, fuck it, we all gonna die anyways.
You know, I could see
and saying little things like that.
You know, I could see rocking some Shady Rays during the apocalypse and having a grand old time. Is Thanos from season 2 of Squid Game.
I'm not caught up, but Thanos, despite being a murderer in the second episode,
immediately
they don't start games until like the 6.5th episode.
As soon as he has an opportunity to kill somebody, absolutely takes it. That guy's the best though, because he's just having the most fun of anybody in Squid Game.
You know what? He'd be in a good position if one of the games was yapping. That guy speaks so much English during the show.
I know.
And the subtitles say in English. He'll like walk up to somebody and be like, Hey, cock-a-doodle-doo. That's the sound the rooster makes in the morning. Am I right, friend? Just says that all in English.
It's so confusing. Nobody else in the show speaks English at all, ever. And then this guy just is constantly speaking in English.
That rocks.
It's
I don't really understand the
unbelievable.
concept of I understand the concept of Squid Games. I've never watched it, so I don't know the character or whatever. That's my favorite character.
But it doesn't.
He's a Korean rapper who is named after Thanos, and he paints his nails like the Infinity Stones.
That rocks.
And basically, he just frolics around. Killing people
That's
my
during
guy.
Squid Game.
That's my
And
guy.
he takes drugs that are the colors of the Infinity Stones.
my
He
guy.
has a cross with a bunch of pills that are those various colors, but he's a rapper who is deeply in debt. Everybody on Squid Games, famously, this may contain spoilers, is deeply in debt. Shout out Shady Rays, as we're just still...
They spent too much money on glasses that were too expensive. And
No, I wasn't associating debt with Shady Rays. I was just reminding
he's
folks.
saying because he didn't shop at
Shady Rays are affordable glasses. They're out here spending money
right.
on more expensive glasses that are lower quality when they could just be saving money with Shady
But
Rays.
I think I know. They give a backstory as to why Thanos has such horrible money problems. I think it's because his career isn't going well, because he keeps doing his songs in the wrong language for his audience. He's a Korean rapper, and he says like 2 Korean words the entire show.
I don't know. A lot of K-pop does that. I mean, no, it's not K-pop, but like a lot of K-pop, a lot of Korean music does that.
I do like when,
he's angling for a wider appeal.
Exactly.
Just
Maybe you should stop
with the
doing
wrong
that. At Squid
crowd.
Game.
Yeah, with the wrong crowd.
with an old stubborn man who doesn't want to hear it.
Well, our friends at Shady Rays have him and you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank, like that bank that hangs above the dorms in Squid Games. That's one of the funniest, still one of the funniest parts of that show. It's ridiculous. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. You can match all the Infinity Stones. They probably have a style in your team's favorite color. Again, like the Infinity Stones, anything you want. You can match that green that you're wearing inside the Squid Games. I wear Shady Rays. I actually did bring my Shady Rays to Chicago. Fun fact about me. Don't know if I'm going to use them. It's going to rain all week, but whatever. And if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, do not sweat it, because Shady Rays has the most insane protection policy in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by the lost or broken replacement policy. And so if you don't love your shades, or if you lose them, you can return them worry-free. Within 30 days, they'll send you a new pair, and there's no risk when you shop. And their team always has your back covered with personal and fast support. So, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
We went and we saw our friend Alex Vlasic play some hockey tonight. He looked great out there. He always does. What an absolute stud. Just a building block defenseman in the NHL for the Chicago Blackhawks. We recently chatted with him to look ahead to the Winter Classic. He's a Chicago native, famously, so we wanted to get his feel for Wrigley, for baseball, for the coaching change, everything. A lot of Trevor Zegras. This is mostly about Trevor Zegras because they went to college together and they're good buddies. Great conversation with him.
If you've ever wondered, hey, what is Trevor Zegras' deal? Boy, do we have an interview for you.
I feel like I learned so much from the Zegras stuff, but he doesn't say anything that will sound like it all just makes sense.
No, what I took away from it, and you'll hear this, is that as a Trevor Zegras, I have a lot of confusion about Trevor Zegras. I came away being having faith that Trevor Zegras is like a cool guy because Vlasic seems to know what the opinion of Trevor Zegras is amongst a lot of people. And he says, listen, I get it. And I understand why a lot of people would think this, but here is the truth. Here's the real deal about Trevor Zegras. And I appreciated that.
He asked us in one of his, he was like, and do you guys know him? Do you have him on the show or anything? And we were like, no, we
just completely blind judgments.
We don't know. We don't talk to him. We're kind of waiting to figure out if we want to do that. Mm-hmm. By the end of this conversation, we were like, yes, we'll have him. And then we'll probably request him now, and he'll be like, no. And that will be that. Here is Alex Vlasic in the meantime, presented by Bauer. Alex Vlasic, what is your experience with Wrigley Field?
Honestly, I'm not a huge baseball guy. Like, I played baseball growing up, but I had to tell my dad that I didn't like it anymore when I was like 12 or 13. The games are so long, and they're actually a little bit better now with like the pitch count and stuff like that, or the clock. But honestly, not a whole lot. Like, maybe now I get to like 2 or 3 games a summer. It's kind of more of just like a social thing for me, or like just go out to the bars in Wrigley.
Not liking baseball is interesting for you because you look exactly like a first baseman.
I was a first baseman.
Oh, yeah.
I would have guessed either first baseman or pitcher just based solely off the height.
Yeah.
You've got that like Richie Sexton type of look.
I bet you can't guess what position I played.
Shortstop.
Oh, you were second
base.
Second base.
I wasn't tall enough to be the shortstop.
I was outfield until they could start hitting it to the outfield, and then they had to move the bad players to other positions. So they moved me to second base, and I got what I thought was the yips, and then I just didn't have a strong arm. But yeah, we're pumped for the Winter Classic. The jerseys are unbelievable. Do you have any friends on the Blues that you text and be like, gross, those suck, we're going to beat you now?
No, I don't even know what theirs look like.
They're gross and they suck.
Yeah. I didn't even see theirs. I mean, I just know ours are pretty nasty, so.
You guys did like a reveal video with like opening the pizza box. They did a reveal video, and the guys that got the jerseys were like,
They're just
nice,
like rattled.
sweet.
Did you ever go to any Winter Classics? Any of the 500
No.
that have been in Chicago?
No. Always just like watched them on TV. Like, we'd have like my hockey team at the time. We'd all kind of like go to somebody's house, the families and stuff. It was pretty sweet, pretty like good memories. I feel like in the winter, just like watch the Winter Classic, maybe skate or something on the outdoor rink that whoever like was hosting it had, and it was pretty cool.
I feel like a big part of the Winter Classic lead up is forcing players to pretend they have like a deep experience with outdoor hockey, and then being like, hey, like this guy grew up skating on ponds and blah. No one has experience with outdoor hockey. They play in rinks mostly. Did you have any experience with outdoor hockey?
Yeah, we had a rink growing
Good
up.
question,
like,
then, asshole.
Way to set it up.
We had a rink like until we moved from our first house. So I was like 10 years old. Like from when I was born till 10, we had an outdoor rink every year. I skated out there like every day, every night.
Get fucked.
Yeah, wrecked. My dad put up like lights so we could play at night, and it was like so cool. Just pretend you're like in the Winter Classic almost. But a lot of times we weren't even playing hockey. We were just like chasing each other around and like pushing each other in the snowbanks on the sides. But
How's the upkeep on that? I feel like that there's going to be complaints about the ice.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, my dad did a good job managing our rink, so I think it's all like weather dependent, and hopefully it's cold enough where the ice is good, but it's not too cold where you can't feel your hands out there, or snowing. Snowing would kind of suck.
Have you been part of any of the conversations about like what you guys are gonna do in terms of like theme or whatever? Because they always make a big part of the spectacle, like the entrance and the costumes and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware a little bit of what we're gonna do, but I don't know if I can disclose that kind of information.
But did you like the pageantry of it all? Because people
Yeah, it's
can't see
cool.
the games once the game starts because sight lines and everything. So you got to kind of shoot your wad before the game and dress up fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. I feel like you kind of just always come to a game in your suit, and it can kind of get boring. Like, you look at like other leagues, and they come in with whatever they want, it seems like. So for us to be able to do that for once is pretty sweet.
Obviously, a struggle for this team this year has been that they haven't been able to score goals. As a defenseman, how nice is it to be like, not my problem? Blame the other guys.
A little bit. I think obviously, especially my game, like defense comes first, so that's something I'm focused on. But I think we all the defense gotta contribute offensively as well, and a couple of us have gotten some goals recently. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's a kind of a team issue, and we can all do a better job.
Does it help that with the coaching change, like you've still got, like you're still working with Kevin, like Kevin Dean, the assistant coach, is still like the defense guy. So you get some of the turnover, but maybe it's not as quite crazy on the day-to-day for you?
Yeah. I think nothing really changes. For the defense at least, like working with the same coach. And then I was lucky enough I worked with Anders in Rockford when I was there a couple of years ago. So he was my head coach there. So I know him pretty well and have some good relationship there.
You've been pretty like open about the frustration that comes with the losses and how it's kind of new to you, and how much you guys are losing. How do you kind of grapple with like the mental aspect of keeping like your head down and staying focused and being able to learn from it and the frustration that you feel on a day-to-day basis?
I think like the last couple of years, I've learned a lot with like how to deal with that stuff, and I don't think getting used to it is the right terminology for it. But you kind of learn that when you are losing and things don't go your way, you can't just kind of feel bad for yourself and try to switch things up or whatever. You kind of have to just, like you said, stick with it. And at least with a new coach now, there's a little bit of freshness that comes with that, and everybody's kind of excited. And I think we're all trying to use that as a little bit of a propeller to kind of get us going in the win column.
How do you like kind of bridge the gap between obviously feeling bad for Luke, and in most cases when these coaches are fired, they're not fired because they did a bad job. They got fired because the team didn't get where the ownership or the general manager wanted them to get. A very good example is two of your teammates, Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno. They fired the next coach to win the Stanley Cup. Boston fired Bruce Cassidy. He went and won the Stanley Cup right away, and that team still got a lot better. So, like, I guess how do you kind of balance feeling bad for the situation one guy ends up getting and knowing, like, hey, even if he was the best coach in the world, we can still improve with some sort of change?
Yeah, I think, like you said, Luke was a great guy and a good coach, and it was an unfortunate thing to happen. I don't think anybody wanted to see him go, and but yeah, I think once everything is very stale and you're just losing over and over again and things just don't seem to be working, I think something is due for change. And I guess management decided that was a coaching switch, and so far I think the players have liked what we've seen from Anders, and like I said, there's definitely some freshness that comes with that, and everybody's just kind of using that as a way to almost forget about the last however many games that we've just been really struggling and really just trying to focus on every day here and getting better.
What was Trevor Zegras like in college?
I love Z. He's one of my good buddies. We played at home a couple weeks ago. He came over and we were just shooting the shit for a little bit. But he's a really good dude. Like, I think he gets a lot of hate from like the outside world, especially like the older guys, which I get. Like, he does some questionable things, and I think he's getting better. Like, he's not doing stupid stuff like he used to anymore with just like kind of pissing off the older guys. Like, it's like the arrogance and all that. But that's just kind of like who he is. And if you got to know him like one-on-one, he's such a good guy, and he's just a goofball.
Did it seem like he would be a lightning rod when you were kids? Like, did he have maybe something about him that likes kind of pressing the button and maybe fucking with people a little bit? Because we're 100 years into talking about this young man, and we still kind of can't wrap our heads around him.
Yeah, I think you kind of like, I met him for the first time at some hockey camp when I was like 14. And he was just like so skilled, like way more skilled than everyone, like loved to be the flashy guy, which is like nothing wrong with it, but he was always trying like crazy things. And I think sometimes now it's pretty like normal for you to see like a Michigan tried or like little things like that. And when he started to do it, like nobody had started to do it at that time. And so people were just kind of pissed off, like, what's this guy trying to do here? But yeah, I mean, he's a really good dude, and like, I don't know, have you guys ever talked to him at all, or like?
No, we have a good relationship with the Ducks, and whenever we're doing requests with them, we're like, should we do it now? Should we try? And we're almost like a little afraid to talk to him because then he becomes real.
I'm also afraid for him that Jacob Trouba's now there, so he's got Gudas and Trouba in that room that he's got to answer to. So
they put out that video. I don't know if you saw it, when they made that trade. They put out a video, and it was like the Ducks did like. Don't mess with us or something. Yeah. And it was just like stock rock music and Jacob Trouba and Radko Gudas
just killing people.
And it's like, first thought is, oh no, Zegras, you're in trouble in practice.
Yeah, I feel like everybody that plays with him likes him. I think it's the guys that like haven't played with him and haven't gotten to know him that like don't like him. But I back him. Like, guys on our team chirp him and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you knew him, you'd love him.
Does he care about all of the backlash or all this stuff? Because another thing about it I know is I'm not much of a TikTok user, but people simp him as well. So he's getting attention one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try not to like, because I know he's like dating Dixie D'Amelio or whatever, which is like pretty big in the world today.
NHL player, not impressive enough.
Yeah, I don't want to like talk to him about that stuff. Just
guys don't talk about that stuff. That's what people don't know. I'll say of all the bad stereotypes about men that they sit around talking shop all day, not a truity.
Nope.
They don't do that. But I do still want to like get back to does he have a little bit of like, I'm going to fuck with them because they get so mad at me? Because he does kind of push the button a little bit, I think.
I think sometimes, yeah. I think sometimes his wires cross and he'll do something on purpose.
Yeah.
But I think he did a lot more of that in his like first 2 years or so when he was playing, and now he's kind of learned like, I probably don't want to create too many enemies.
Are there any players on your team who are like that?
I don't think so. I think Bertuzzi used to be a little bit like that, like years ago, and I think he's settled down a little bit now. But yeah, it's nice to have somebody like a Marchand like on your team. It's nice to have somebody that can just stir the pot and make people pissed off at you.
Well, as a defenseman, how do you feel about Instagram hockey?
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about like the Jack Hughes thing? Like,
Yeah.
Of course, controversy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was trying to embarrass. Like I played with him too. I don't think he was trying to embarrass Shesterkin or anything like that.
Crazy thing to say.
And cool. Even if he was cool, try to embarrass Igor Shesterkin.
Yeah,
See
why
how
not?
it works
Yeah.
out. He's probably going to make the save, and you're going to look dumb.
How much have you learned about Bedard over like the past year or two young guys? I mean, we talked to you last year in camp, and everybody was kind of trying to get to know him and figure out what he might be interested in outside of hockey. Like how has that experience been being his teammate over the past year or so?
Yeah, I haven't learned much. He's actually a lot different this year. Like I noticed right away. Just he definitely seems more comfortable, and the one-on-one conversations he doesn't seem a little like nervous like he was last year. Which again, I mean, you're 18 years old coming in, like so much pressure on you. He's probably going to be a little bit timid, but he's been great this year. Yeah, definitely opened up a lot more. I think he's a pretty simple guy, like just loves hockey and loves the grind, and so dedicated, and I think all of us could learn from that a little bit. But I think I try to get him on the sticks, play some COD with me a little bit on the video games and stuff like that. I try to, but I don't know if that's up his alley.
Hell yeah, thank God.
That's crazy. Like can't even get him to play video games.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, most guys don't. I'd say like half the guys probably do. But I just like I want to bond with my teammates, and sometimes playing some COD is the way to do it.
Oh, see, I would have assumed I would have assumed that
higher
most
percentage.
people would play video games.
Well, I mean, like I'd say like 60% of our team or like 70 has like kids.
Yeah,
So they're not hopping on. They got stuff to do.
What's your setup look like? Because we saw Leo Carlson's setup earlier this year.
I've heard he's pretty nasty. Zeger's just telling me that he's nasty.
I was also told that he's nasty, but his setup is disgraceful.
Really?
It's just like the corner of a room, and there's like trash everywhere. He's got a small monitor. I've talked to him about it. He's like, I can't. It's not my fault. I can't do anything about it. But please tell me that you at least have some self-respect for your setup.
Yeah, mine's pretty dialed. I used to be really nasty. Like I would put in like hours. Now I'm matured. I've matured, and I play like not as frequently. Like I used to be like addicted to the grind. I had like a standing PC, like nice monitor.
Speaking my language.
Yeah, when I was in college, I grinded, especially with like COVID, like Zoom classes. You could just like turn your camera off and just hit the sticks.
hell yeah, brother, the dream, college life,
Addicted to the grind.
just playing some video games. So I will say, as a non-gamer, I would find Leo Carlson's setup intimidating because it's like showing up to a fight and being like, all right, choose your weapon. What do we get? And the other guy's like, fists.
Yep.
Like he doesn't need any of the fancy shit. And he's like, I'm just good to go. I would assume based off that setup that he's probably nasty. So good for him.
Yeah, that's pretty greasy.
And also, Leo Carlson should not be the Anaheim Duck that gets the most shit online. It should be Trevor Zegras.
What's the one thing that gets under your skin the most that an opponent will try to pull to get under your skin?
I just think like constant like chirping or like Konechny is big with that stuff. Marchand, like just like random chirps, like you're like, dude, come on, like just let me play.
He's still so Marchand still being good at that is interesting because, and we saw it recently. There was the interaction that he had with Paul Bissonnette on TNT, where he just worked. He's just the sharpest dude in the world.
You can't win. You can't win a war of words with Marchand. And I heard you were talking to CHGO guys. You're like, I didn't even try. There was no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you hear him like chatting. He didn't chirp me the other night, luckily, but like I just try to stay out of his way. So nothing. I hit no strays.
Do you think it does benefit those players to be that mouthy?
I think so. I think like it's a way for them to like get in the game and stay in the game. And once you kind of piss somebody off, you know they're going to be looking for you, and then that kind of makes you like, I got to actually be like alive right now, so like I don't get blown up or something.
You don't hammer people with just short jokes?
Me, no. I try to stay silent.
I appreciate that.
But you're pumped for the Winter Classic, pumped for Wrigley, all that. You're still not going to tell us what the dress up is going to be?
Nope, I can't.
Pete's going to guess a few things. Tell him if he's warmer or closer.
Honestly, I'm probably the wrong. I think like you got to ask the older guys because I know they had some tricks up their sleeves.
It's got to be baseball themed, right?
I don't know.
Cleats?
Hot dog costumes.
That would be electric.
Yeah, dressing up as Portillo's hot dogs would rock. Do it.
Ooh, Alex Vlasic, the greatest. We love him. And now we love Trevor Zegras. So shout out him. We look forward to watching him in the Winter Classic on Tuesday. I have been just thrown for every loop this week for a bunch of reasons.
Tuesday, New Year's Eve Winter Classic this year.
You know what I don't like about that?
What?
I had to quadruple check it. You know what that slate is?
13 games.
13 games.
Oh.
13 games.
Oh my-
Gross.
that's unacceptable.
Why even have a Winter
That's
Classic?
unacceptable.
Absolutely insane behavior.
Terrible.
Crazy.
Like that's because like the only thing I didn't really like about them moving it to the 31st is that like the first is a day where I'm not kind of just not doing anything, whatever. Why not have 13 games? Like just have a day full of hockey outside of the people that just played outside.
And you know what makes it even worse?
I have the answer to that, by the way. It's college football. They would get dominated by college
you're
football.
right. Yeah.
So Wednesday, January 1st, they have one game. The Devils at the Kings, which quite frankly,
Pretty good game.
solid.
On NHL Network.
That's A minus.
Yeah, never mind.
That could have gotten a random ass one game A, but I'm not loving the scheduling this week, but I am very pumped for the Winter Classic. Pumped to get back to Wrigley Field. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff there, and you're going to enjoy what ends up coming from it. I promise you that. Let's get to a slate grade for tonight, Monday, in the meantime, and we have but 3 games. Just 3 games. And we've got at 7 p.m. Eastern, United States of Canada, the Rangers at the Panthers. What do you think of for that? Rangers and Panthers.
I'm very interested in basically every Rangers game from here on out because car crash potential. Like, I just want to see how bad this gets. And like Rangers and Panthers, like Panthers always have like fuck shit up potential. And going up against the Rangers, I will absolutely be tuning into that.
Rangers have lost 8 of their last 10 games. When you hear those two teams, though, for bowl purposes, who's coming to mind for Rangers and Panthers?
Because Keith Yandle Bowl.
Keith Yandle is one. Keith Yandle was the third name I jotted down. There was one pillar one that jumped right off the page.
Frank Vetrano Bowl.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think of Frank
Anthony
Vetrano.
Duclair Bowl.
Anthony Duclair was the second person I thought of.
In the first,
it's
the
90s.
Vladimir Tarasenko Bowl.
Vladimir Tarasenko. Oh, yeah. Gross Rangers. First one I thought of, 90s, John Van Beesbrook.
Yeah, okay.
Mike Richter's backup partner, and then just an absolute stud in Florida. Some oopsie-daisy stuff after that. Also a Steven Camper Bowl, a Jaromir Jagr Bowl, but, I mean, aren't they all? Predators at Jets, 7:30 p.m. That's an Ole Jokinen Bowl, and it's a Dave Riddick Bowl.
Really?
Dave, yeah.
Dave Riddick.
Dave
Riddick was on the Predators?
He's, I think, endearing. He might be one of those, like, played, like, 12 games for, like, 8 teams before getting that multi-year deal. And the third game of the slate, very impressed with Sean. I said this to you. I asked you this after the game. You're probably going to say I did it when we landed in Chicago.
Technically that is we had landed
famously,
in Chicago.
Well after I was just still harping about this. The hockey club visit the Kraken. There is only one player who has played for both of those teams, and Sean, it is.
Well, Pete, do you know?
Hockey club and Kraken.
He had it right away.
It is not Ian Cole, unfortunately. Despite the fact that this is Ian Cole's world, we all leave it. It is Kyler Yamamoto.
Oh wow,
Kyler Yamamoto bowl.
Damn.
PTO baby.
It was such a bummer that Yamamoto didn't work out in Seattle because he's a Washington guy.
Yeah.
So that was damn.
Well,
not far.
This is clearly an A-. But so far the trip has been a little chaotic, whatever, but we're having a blast. We're going to get to Wrigley tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. We're going to have shows coming all week. Guests, a lot of fun stuff. We will talk to you. Oh, actually, can you tell the folks what to do, Pete?
Yeah, please hit that thumbs up button right below the video player. That is the like button. We like driving up those likes. Ooh, nice job. That's Marion Hossa. Oh,
whoa!
We're using the CHGO studio. They got a bunch of light graphics. They got Kaner in there.
These are strong. Nice.
Our friend Taylor Hall.
All right, let's spend a few more minutes just doing this. Rifle through these.
They got
Tavo.
Whoa, that's that. Go back to that one. Is it like very distorted and it looks like he has fake arms?
He's got
it looks like
thumbs
he
up.
borrowed these arms.
That's AI generated.
Yes.
Our good friend Tommy Haw.
Nice. There you go.
Tommy Hawk showing out for Hanukkah tonight. He was
wearing a dreidel hood, or holiday sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please hit that thumbs up button, by the way. Oh, nice. The Connor Bedard.
I should know, we have surpassed 11,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's right.
Did we figure out what that means?
We never figured out
For
really
Pete's-
what the first one was, and we just kind of went with it until we decided that Pete was wearing a costume, so I don't know where this leaves us.
It leads us to I'm going to be wearing a squirrel costume when we get back to Boston.
I think the last we heard was that you also have to wear it now.
If it gets to I thought it should buy Pete another day, but when I started to pitch it, you guys finished it. Because I was like, well, if it gets to 11,000 and you still haven't worn it, I think you were like, then you have to wear it, and that's not quite where I was going with it.
At least nobody knows.
I don't think I said that. I
Maybe
think
Pete
I've
did?
stayed out of making rules.
That's true. You've mainly been not a player, but a spectator.
Yes.
Just enjoying it. Okay, we will talk to you tomorrow, Tuesday, December 31st in the United States and Canada. From Chicago, TTYL.
We all silly like the mayor.